In Bojutsu, when you're fighting a swordsman, his attacks create openings and spaces for you to enter. There's gaps in his movement. Hello, my name is Michael Glenn, and in this episode of the Dojo Show, we're studying the kata Tsukeiri. Tsukeiri helps you to attach or connect and enter on your opponent during those gaps, and then use that opening in the space to defeat him. If I'm starting off in Ichimonji no kamae here, the basic one would be straight horizontal plane, right? So that's one strike. The next would be at this low angle, okay? And then the next would be at this high angle. So one is to the side, one is to the leg, and one is to kasumi up here at the head, okay? So the same thing on the other side too, as well. But it also, you want to be able to make it more of a sphere. So to add in the other angles, you do these downward angles. So cutting down at the diagonal, okay? Or cutting up at the diagonal, okay? Yes. And then also over the top, okay? Or straight up underneath, okay? And both sides. So it turns into, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess 12, right? Yeah.
Well, the bottom and the top count for both sides.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, 8, 10, 10. Yeah, 10 makes sense because we have happo and then we have jupo, okay? So 10 makes sense for that. All right, you guys understand? So try all 10 of these and just do them a bunch till you feel kind of comfortable with them. All right, I'll work with you, Noam. On the down, up and down strikes, you want to get the right form for that. So I rock into my knee here, I bring my hand to the center, and it slides down. Okay, that's breaking it down into 3 motions, right? But it all really just happens at once, like this. Okay, but I bring it to my center. This is like a kamae, right? Jodan. So I bring it to my center, down. And the hand is sliding. Okay, so my grip starts in normal, like 1/3 grip. I come to the center, slide down. Okay, this sliding in Bojutsu when you strike is really critical. It provides a lot of extra force to the strike. Okay, now when you do the upward strike, same thing. So I come here, right, to the center, lift. Okay. So from here, it's coming to the center line, lifting. And then this leverage, the bow slides and my body dips, okay? So try all these again a couple more times and try to get those pieces, please. So on the diagonal downward, you don't have to come to the center line, right? You can just come like here, so kind of like doko, right? So from here I come sliding down at an angle, okay? So when you're blocking with the sword, there's a few details here. So James is gonna do, let's say, an overhead strike here. So he comes in, I receive this way, okay? So you notice I move my head out from under the bow. So if my block doesn't work for some reason, this is out of the way, right? And then I replace that spot where my head was with my sword. okay? But I keep my sword at an angle so that the bow will slide off. If I try to block like this, then I'm trying to match my strength against his strength, right? And also the strength of the sword against that. And if for some reason he hits it at the right angle, it might shatter, or you just may not be strong enough and he'll knock through it. Okay, so instead I receive in a way that it'll slide off. Okay. Another detail here is when he strikes, if he's got it good, if he isn't going to hit me, I don't need to block here. Okay, so I'm watching everybody, and sometimes you guys aren't going to the target, right? So if the guy strikes like this, well, then you don't really need to block, right? So if you guys are practicing the bow, you actually want to go to the target, okay, and force him to move or block. Otherwise, you're both cheating each other that way. We're going to continue with our Ihen Tsubaki study. This is part of the Ihen Tsubaki Kata from Kukishinru Bojutsu. And we've spent the last year or more going through each of these kata on Sundays. And I started on this study when I at the Daikomyosai in 2012, when Hatsumi Sensei was showing some Ihen Tsubaki with the bow. And some of the things he was doing really impacted me, and they were things that I wanted to study more in depth. So I decided to embark on this study on my own to see what I could discover about what he was up to, right? Okay, so this kata we're going to do tonight is called Tsukeiri. Okay, come this way just a bit. So you guys might have heard the word Tsukeiri from Hanbo Jitsu. Okay, I think it's the same name for these kata. So in this kata, I start off in Seigan. He's also in Seigan, and my first move is a thrust. Okay. Second move, I strike to do. Then I flip to the head here. Okay. Let's go back this way. So I'm in Seigan here. I do a ski. I strike to do. Then I flip to the head here. This isn't where it ends. So you flip to the head, and the last is a thrust to the face. Okay. That's how the kata actually ends, with that ski to the face. Let's go this way, James. So I'm in my Seigan here. I ski, strike to do, flip there, thrust to the face. Okay. So that last flip is to the top of the head, and if he blocks, then he gets ski in the face. So from here, ski, strike to do, flip here. That last one's really hard to defend, which is why he's bailing out. Yeah. Be very careful on that last one, because it's right into the teeth or the face, and it'll suck if you actually connect. Okay. So this version that I'm showing right now is a version that you'll see on Soke's Bojutsu video. It's not my preferred version. Okay. Soke a long time ago made a comment about that video that it wasn't quite up to par. And so there's some confusing things in there sometimes. And in a minute we'll do more my preferred version, but I wanted to start with this one because it's simple and straightforward. Okay? All right, try it out. So like you've heard me explain before with the skis, you don't want to decide ahead of time where you're going to ski. Okay, so if I decide ahead of time I'm going to ski to this side, that's an easy block for Sean. Okay, if I do the same thing on that side, again, an easy block. But if I ski down the center and I don't know which side it's going to go on, then it's harder for him to block. Okay, so I ski down the center towards his sword if he's doing a good Seigan. If he's doing a bad Seigan and he's let it drift off, then I may think that he's baiting me. Okay, so I would change things. All right, but if he's doing a good Seigan that's guarding his center, then I'm going to just go down the line of that center. Okay, so that way it makes it difficult for him to block. Okay, he has to guess, and he may or may not guess right. Even if he guesses right, though, he gets crowded with that block. Okay, so that's an important detail to start with. The second piece here, when I do my do, I want to control the distance and space here. So I've connected here, right? As I shift through, you see what just happened. let's go back this way, Sean. The name of this kata, Tsukeiri, it means follow up and enter, or a translation that I prefer is connect and enter. Okay, so you're connecting to your opponent with these strikes. So from here, I'm connecting to Sean. Whether I hit him or not, I'm connecting to him. Okay, so there's some connection here to his sword. Okay, now when I shift to do this other strike, you see I exaggerated it there. You know, that sweep away, I exaggerated it. But you do a little bit of that to throw him off. Okay, so here, right, there's a ski. There's that. Okay, so if he didn't move here or couldn't move, that's a tough one already. Okay, let's go again. So, ski. Yeah. And then this one to the top. Okay, so you see how I threw him off, yeah? So when I do my ski, it's down the center, okay? And then here, okay? This also is a connection. So there's this connection here that I release to do that flip, okay? So you guys want to start playing with these connections in the space, all right? And how you control the space with the bow, okay? Hey, Noam, that second, yeah, that's a flip.
Oh, it's a flip.
Yes, so you let go and you flip.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to change this just a little bit. So I'm still in Seigan here. I ski down the center, right? From here, after this ski down the center, I'm going to let this end drop and strike to the do on that side, okay? Once more. Come a little closer, please. Okay, so I ski down the center. I let this end drop and strike to do on that side. Then you see my flip comes here on this side. Okay, let's try that way. So skiing down the center, dropping here, there's my flip, and that one is through the middle. I caught him on the elbow there because he's turning sideways when he blocks and puts his elbow right there. Well, it's no better to get hit in the face than the elbow, so I don't think you have any great options. So I do my ski down the center here. This drops and goes to do on that side. I'm still working with this connection here so that when this flip comes, it's through there. Okay, so from here I do my ski. This comes down to do on this side. Okay, there's my flip. The last one, you see how he wants to get out. So the main difference in this one is after your first ski, you're letting this end drop and letting gravity bring it to do. Okay. That's a good question. It could. James has a good question there, and I was going to get to this, but we'll start now. So when you're doing your initial ski, if your ski goes to this side, well, then it makes sense for you to strike do on that side, right? If he blocks on this side, you would go on that side. If your initial ski goes to this side, now it makes sense to strike this side. Yeah. This is part of Ian Tsubaki, right? Being open to what presents itself and being able to strike anything. Okay, so when you do that initial ski going down the center, he can't pick which side to block on, it just happens, right? And so then you also can't pick which side to strike next. You just have to go with what it presents itself. All right, does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, the dropping strike is also so deceptive that I feel like even if I had it on this side, I don't know what you're doing. So.
Yeah, sometimes you can do the opposite for deception, right? So for deceptive purposes, I can come here, right? So it's deceptive because he may think I'm going to the other side next or something. So yeah, you can use deception like that. So I do my initial ski here. I let this come to do, and I'm giving Sean some pressure here, okay? This pressure allows that to come in a way that is difficult for him to handle, okay? Another trick with that, once more, so I ski here, I come here, you let it rise up along the sword. So I'm doing my flip very controlled here because I know he's going to have trouble with it, right? And I hit him in the glasses on that situation, right? Right. So if you go from this pressure point and you play with the leverage, you see what happens to him. Because he's
my focus too, because I start thinking that we're fighting over this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm thinking here, I'm not thinking about that at all.
Right.
That comes out of nowhere.
Right. And so also here, he's very strong here. Okay. But if I come up here, he's not so strong. Okay. So I can move his sword if I come up along the plane of the blade. Right. It might put a groove in your bow, but that's okay. It'll be another notch in your bow. How many samurai you've taken down, right? So does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Try that. If you're fighting a good swordsman, the kata can go differently, right? Right now, the way we're doing it, our swordsman is being very neutral. He's just standing there. He's not really countering or evading or anything. He's just standing there and blocking. If we had an aggressive swordsman, one who was going to try to come in on me, that would change the way I would approach this kata. Okay, so if I'm here and I ski, James blocks, well, after the block, that's a likely time for him to come in, right? So as he comes in, I want to retreat, okay? This is another likely time for him to come in. So as he comes in, I want to retreat, okay? So it's going to change the way I approach the steps of the kata. So again, here he decides to come in here. See how I've controlled the space? Okay, with a backwards Yoko Aruki. He tries to come in again. Okay. So I need to have my footwork in place while I do these strikes. So without James, right, I'm skiing, and then I do a backwards Yoko Aruki here, another step here. Okay. So I want you guys to try it that way because there's a good chance he'll try to find an opening on you and enter. It may even happen from the ski. So we may be here and I see him coming to try to kill me, right? So I'm backing up here and I have to keep him out, right? You see that last one, I bounced off of him because he tried to keep pressing, yeah? So I don't want you guys to get too riled up and try to get competitive because somebody will get hurt. You'll end up breaking a finger or something. So just if you're the swordsman, just advance with each strike, okay? So James, make your strikes keep him somewhat at bay. So as I'm here and he's advancing, right? This first one keeps him at bay a little bit. This next one should also keep him at bay a little bit, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not really doing them because it's dangerous for him, right? But if I really hit him with those, then he'd want to stay away some more.
I'm trying to find a balance between letting him come in, like get a chance, so it's actually in defense.
Well, just tap him, you know, if you have control over your bow, right? So as Noam's approaching here, as he's coming in, I can tap him like this. As he comes in more, right? I can tap here, right? As he comes in more, I can do it here too. So just, yeah, see how you started to come in and then you were like, no, I don't want any part of this, and you, yeah, that's what would happen, right? You're a little close on that last one, Sean. Yeah. You maybe felt it.
I felt it.
On each of these, you want to get the most extension you can get, okay, just for your own practice. Okay, so when I'm with James and I do my initial thrust, he's coming in here, right? I extend, okay? See how extended I am? That I'm trying to keep him away at the max. So then as he enters here, see my distance? Okay, as he enters some more, see my distance? I'm right at the end of the bow, trying to keep as much range as possible. Because as he's pressing in, that distance is constantly closing, and I want to extend it to keep myself safe. Get more extension. Hey Sean, try to get more extension there. And there you're too close again. So Sean, you have to find the rhythm of extending. So after my ski here, I let this drop, and as it's swinging, I take this long distance, right? Then as I do my flip, the flip is next, right? Yeah. As I do my flip, again, while it's in the air, I take this long distance. So I end up at the end of my range. Yeah. That's better, Sean. With Bo Jitsu, you really want to be able to go any direction. Sure. So if we come over here again, so to your point right there, so I'm here, right? So that time I didn't back up, but I went circular. So then as he tries to enter again, I can continue my circle. So you could be retreating, or you could be circling. But you really should be able to move any direction depending on the needs of the situation. Yeah. So work on that footwork. This one, after the ski, this one is just cross step, and this one extends out more. Okay. Try it out. So this time I'm the aggressor, okay? So here, all right, and here, and here. You see how I'm making him move? Yeah, how does that feel?
Like it was coming from every direction.
Yeah, he said it was like it was coming every direction and he had to bail, right? Yeah, that's the kind of feeling. Let's try this way. So from my initial ski here, I'm driving in, okay? Here I'm driving in. Here I'm driving in. And I'm forcing him to retreat, okay? You remember recently we were doing a kata called mukozume, and in that one you're filling the space with strikes as you move in, right? And you're forcing the guy to retreat. The same thing applies here. If as you approach, the space is filled with strikes and pain, he's gonna back out. It's like, you know, he doesn't want to walk into that propeller, okay? And so a lot of times in Bojutsu, people in the Bujinkan in general don't really teach it well. And the way they'll teach it is they're just like this, this. And there's not much life to it. And you'll see that a lot. People do it a lot. They don't even aim at the right targets, or they don't apply any pressure either way, right? But I think it's important for you to bring it alive more. It's difficult to do safely, so that's why we're doing it in this controlled manner. But you guys, you know, hopefully will have enough control to not hurt each other. Any questions about driving it in like this? If your opponent isn't backing up, you're not doing it right, okay? So see if you can get that feeling. You're entering against this weapon which is deadly to you, so you have to take some consideration for that, all right? So when I do my initial thrust, I want to stay guarded with my bow, okay? So after the thrust, as I come back here, I'm keeping this guarding in case he decides to press in, okay? So again, so I thrust, I keep this here in the center. If he decided to come in now for some reason, I'm ready for that, right? Okay, one more. So I do my thrust and I'm here. And here again, I want to stay guarded. So if Noam decides to come in here, you see how I can use the center to kind of guard there. Yes. He mentioned the word totoku hyoshi, which is a kamae, a type of kamae. Usually it's shown to guard against shuriken but Sensei uses it all the time, armed, unarmed, as a way to describe guarding your center and pivoting around that, right? So again, so here I'm guarding, here I'm staying guarded here, okay? When I do this flip, again, I'm staying guarded. So whether I'm pressing or retreating, I want to keep that concept alive because I don't know what he's going to do. I can control him to a certain degree here, but ultimately he can do something random that I'm not ready for. So I want to stay guarded. Well, generally in any Bujinkan class, when you're the uke, your main job is survival, right? So you want to take ukemi that's going to protect you from being injured, right? And then secondary to survival is not being a wet noodle, right? To provide a little life to the exchange. But generally as an uke, you're not trying to counter or compete in most situations, right? So I wouldn't say don't worry about standing your ground, because that, if you think about standing your ground, that becomes more competitive, right? Just do what is natural for your survival. And so in this case, like, natural for your survival is to get out of the way of that, right? If you try to stand your ground against that, it's bad for you. So that's a good idea in general as an uke, right? Good question. Anything else? So try to think about that as you're pressing in. Guard your center here. Okay, be ready in case he does something you're not expecting. So Sean, as you press, see if you can also, as you're pressing, still keep the distance. And that's the difficult part with this, right? Yeah. So if I press in here and I go to pressure here, this distance is horrible for me. Yeah, he can kill me very quickly from here. So I need to find a way through my kamae or my pressure to keep him moving and maintain this kind of range. That's very difficult though. So from here, right, I come in this way and you see how I've driven him back. Okay, so I'm still at this long range where he can't get me easily. And that's the difficult part about this exchange. You felt the difference?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you may or may not get it, but that's what you want to go for. That's better, Sean. Yeah, just more mean. Yeah, turn up the mean. Forget my instructions. There you go. So I want to work with something I spoke about at the very beginning, which was in Tsukeiri. This word tsuke means like connecting. That's one translation of it. So when I do my ski here, and I've connected here, right? You guys saw me before where I pull this through and strike, right? So we're going to play with that a little bit. So I come here, I pull this through and strike. Now I do my flip here, and I'm going to use that flip to do the next piece. Are you all right, Noam?
Oh, great.
Okay.
That was part of it.
Yeah, it is actually.
Be aware.
Yeah. So I do my ski here. I have this connection, right? As I come through here, I want to keep this connection going. You see how I've stayed with that connection and disarmed him. Okay. So here, right, I have this connection here, right? So then as he runs away, you can do your flip. So I do my ski here, I keep this connection going. I press that aside and you see what's happened. So ski here, this connection here to his kote, okay? So ski, this connection right here to the kote is important, okay? You see how he's just backing up. It's very intimidating, yeah. So what about it feels intimidating?
I don't want to be in contact contact with you at all.
Right.
So, from my perspective, I would rather move
Sure.
than stand my ground and be pressed against and taken away.
Right.
So I just have to keep backing up because when it comes, if I block it, I'm in trouble. So I just need to move out of the way.
Yeah.
Plus with the sword, any kind of contact with that is just awkward and uncomfortable.
Sure.
You want full range of motion for a nice strike, and you could slide into something if you need it.
Right.
But it's not hurt.
And so this feeling that I'm working with here plays with that a little bit. Like he tries to remove himself or move his sword, and you capitalize on that, right? So one more time. So as I ski here, there's this pressure, and he wants to get out, right? So you see how I went away from the kata, okay, which is okay. I think we're after this feeling now, okay? So because he's trying to get away with his sword or free it up from the entanglement that it's in, then it opens up other things for you, right? If you guys get lost when you're doing this, go back to the kata, okay? So if I'm here and I do my ski, you see? So I went back to the kata just to show the different places where you can connect and how you can manipulate him, okay? Hey James, when you like that first one you did, it was too much. Like, so you were here and then you did this very obvious thing, right? Which is too much. So it has to be more kind of like, see how it's not committed to anything, and he doesn't know what to do, right? So again, so here, like there's just like kind of pressuring here, right? And he doesn't know what to do.
How do I do it without getting too freestyle? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, if you're afraid of getting too free range with it, go back to the kata. Go back to the steps of the kata, right? But this is the end portion of the class where we're working on more of the feeling, and I don't care about the kata anymore. I'm working on the feeling behind the kata. Okay. Hey Sean, see if you can also, beyond the sword manipulation, get to the body. So I'm here, I do this kind of thing. I got the sword, but I want to get to his body. Okay. See how I'm standing on him here?